For the past 3 months, I have been working solo on an isometric, action-adventure, dungeon crawler, looter-shooter RPG in Unreal Engine 5. This game, which has been codenamed Project Heroes, has very quickly consumed me with every spare minute I have going into developing what has quickly become the passion project of my life. I actually work full-time as a YouTuber currently, so I have the benefit of working from home and being able to take time from that endeavor to sink more time into this one, and for that reason, progress has been moving at a seemingly breakneck speed. Just to name a few of the major developmental milestones that I've reached on this project, we have a fully fleshed out stat system, a dynamic inventory and equipment system, AI enemy system complete with loot drops, trader NPCs, fine movement tuning, as well as melee and magic combat. Which is all fine and dandy, but in order for an RPG to exist, we need a story. To tell that story, we're going to need 2 additional major systems: dialogue and questing. And that, my friends, is what we're going to talk about today. Because since my last check-in on this channel, which you can find the playlist linked in the description if you want to catch up, I have been grinding on Project Heroes. And without spoiling too much, I'm already hard at work on the main questline, and I plan to give you guys a little sneak peek of what to expect in today's video. I've also already decided on a name for the game, and I've been hard at work on developing an engaging and creative narrative for the main story, but that's going to have to remain a secret until I get the Steam page launched, which I will be sure to tell you about when it happens. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel if you want updated for stuff like that, as well as follow along with future devlogs. We've also got artwork for the game as well as a soundtrack in the works and or finished already. So some very cool and exciting things that I cannot wait to share with you guys when the time comes. A lot of the information that's going to be in today's video has already been teased in the Project Heroes Discord server, which you can also find linked in the video description if you'd like to get a look behind the curtain and chat with me and other cool people about the project. As is tradition, though, we will start off today's devlog by going over a couple of things that we needed to figure out in the meantime and things that I have fixed. And you can see on screen here that I have developed a bit of a fix for the isometric view. I got a couple of really good comments, and in order to resolve this, I actually just assigned a material instance to various certain meshes in the world, specifically that I wanted to be masked out, and had a mask that would apply to them but not to the ones underneath the player, so that way they can see where they're walking while not being obscured by their view. I also developed a rudimentary door open and close system, so that was pretty cool. I then took some time to kind of tie everything that I had developed so far together, getting the blacksmith NPC working, and then you could see we purchased items from him. Then you can say run over across the other side of town to get over to the innkeeper. If you were damaged or needed some extra mana, you could go talk to the innkeeper and stay the night there. And all the while, I'm continuing to tweak this masking thing, and I actually think that I will finally settle on dithering as the visual effect for the masking, because I just think dithering looks really nice and it's not super obtrusive to the player. I also took some time since the last check-in to switch up the way that I was handling maps, and now we're actually going to be doing a thing called level streaming, which basically loads and unloads levels within one major level, and it prevents us from having to switch between levels, which is very not good on performance. So hopefully this will help the game run better. And more importantly, I have it now set up that the player is able to go between the town and the cave, for example, seamlessly for the most part. I may have to add a short little loading screen, but overall very nice and very smooth. I also had received some good constructive feedback about the way that I had displayed the character's cursor location, and so I decided to switch it up and actually put a particle effect on screen that the player can see to show exactly where their cursor is. And it went through a few different iterations, but I finally settled on one that I think works pretty well, and it also is essentially reliable, where it will basically always show you where you're going to turn if you were to right click. I then adjusted the sales prices with merchants, so items will have a base cost that will also scale up based on their rarity. So now a common dagger will sell for a very small amount, whereas an epic dagger will sell for a bit more. It's actually a percentage base, so it should be pretty good and allow for you to sell like legendary gear that you get that maybe isn't relevant to you and get some good money out of it. But of course, we should probably talk about what this episode is about in general. And that, my friends, is going to be quests and dialogue. Quests can be assigned dynamically via various different events, and I took some time to switch up the inventory and actually co-opt it into a master widget of sorts that will allow you to check your inventory as well as your quests. So whenever you receive a quest from an NPC, you can actually go into that tab and then you can see that quest within that tab. Quests come complete with multiple stages as well as objectives, and upon completing all of the objectives and all of the stages of the quest, you will be able to get a reward, which can be plenty of different things from experience, money, items. In this case, I gave the player a shield, so you can see I got some experience and some money, and I rolled a rare shield, and I can equip it. That's pretty cool. I then added quest tracking because what is a quest log if you are not able to track it? And so now whenever you click the mission, it will post it with the requirements on your screen and will show exactly where you're at and what your current objective is. One cool thing that I set up is that obviously people are going to have multiple quests at the same time. At least they should if they're playing the game as intended. And so now they're going to need a way to switch between said quests. So I added the ability to change which quest you are tracking. But of course you can progress on said quests while not having them tracked. So you don't have to be tracking it in order to make progress on it. And to avoid widgets from quests, new quests, objectives, and all that stuff showing up over top of each other, I created a system that basically allows you to queue up various widgets. So you can see we got the new quest and then we finished a bunch of objectives. And rather than just showing them all at one time, it queued them up one after another to say, hey, you got a new quest. Then you finish this, then you finish that. So it should all show up in a nice, even order without things getting too complicated. And of course, to tie it all together and to add to the realism of the game, I instituted a dialogue system. So now whenever you walk near an NPC, you can see they get a little highlight around them as well as a prompt saying what their name is and the button that you need to press in order to talk to them. So now whenever you are to walk up to an AI, if you are able to interact with them, not just talk to them, then you can hit that button. So you can see it says talk to the guard, trade with the blacksmith, and I even added that functionality to doors, and I plan to do it for other things like chests, gates, etc., etc. And the prompt will change dynamically based on what you're doing. The dialogue system is pretty bare bones, but honestly, that's all you really need in a game like this. When you talk to somebody, we have the ability to have branching dialogue with different choices. Based on those choices, you can give things, you can take things, you can assign quests, and you can set flags within that NPC. That way we can avoid repeat conversations if they're not helpful to the player. And with that, I got to work on some content design, some real deal content design. So now you are able to load in, pick your class, assign a quest to yourself from a guard, play through that first quest, including talking to NPCs, killing mobs, entering specific locations, and much, much more. And with all of those major systems that I had mentioned implemented in the game is ready to go into real deal production, and I am so excited to share the progress with you guys. As I said before, I'm working on getting a Steam page up for the game, so make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss that news when it does eventually drop. I'm also working on getting a playable demo of Vertical Slice prepared, so all that information will be on Steam as well as in the Discord, which, like I mentioned before, if you want to join, will be linked in the description if you want to chat with me or other people that are interested in Project Heroes. But most importantly, I want to thank you for following along with my little passion project, and I hope that watching this video and the progress that is made on the project during this video, that you got at least a quarter of the enjoyment that I got out of making it, because really, this is just so much fun, and I'm just so happy to have other people here to celebrate the progress with me. That's all I got for you for this one. I'll see you next time.